Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. My brain's like ready to explode. My brain is at capacity today. There's so much going on. Our house guests of the day, we have two brothers, Jacob and Matthew Vogel. Thank you so much for the support. We have Aura. Thank you so much. And we have DBP. That's so hard to say. I feel like those are three of the hardest letters to say in a row, but DBP. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate you all so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, just send us an email to madrosed@gmail.com and we'll get you on the list. Just make sure you put house guest of the day in the subject line. Oh my goodness. Okay. Jefferson Tucker says the season officially started with Rachel Riley's HOH Drama City. Feeds are feeding. And for old time's sake, lights, camera, action. He's here live. Woo! It's been quite the last few days, I have to say. So when we left off, the house guests were competing in the OTEV veto competition. The players were Rachel, the HOH. We had the three nominees, Mickey, Morgan, and Vince, and then the two extra players, Will and Lauren. And this honestly feels like ages ago. We have so much to catch up on since then. The feeds came back after the competition, and we find out that Lauren won the veto. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting, right? Because she will potentially use the veto. It sounds like this competition only lasted 3 rounds. So it is better than last year, but these house guests the last few years maybe not the brightest. I'm not sure yet who Otev was, like what form he took this season, but apparently he did fart on the house guests and the smell like lingered. Also, Mickey was talking about how there was cement, like cement, but when I heard her talking about this, I thought she was saying cement. Because who says cement like that? I've never heard somebody say cement like that. I was like, they had what in the competition? What? But yeah, after the competition, Morgan was pissed at Kelly because apparently Kelly offered to clean the goo off of Lauren's POV medallion. And she was like, can't Kelly let people breathe for 1 minute? She's trying to gain favor with Lauren. Like, what the hell? So Lauren and Catherine have a quick chat in the HOH room after the competition, and Catherine tells her, if you're going to use it, don't use it on her. And I believe she was pointing to the shower, which Mickey was in at the time. Catherine does not want Mickey coming off the block. She wants Mickey out. Woo! So Morgan and Vinny were then chatting in the bathroom, and Vinny was really down on himself for losing another competition. He's like, I'm playing so stupid in these comps. I can win these, but I keep effing it up. I can't effing win anything. So Morgan tells him, chill, baby, chill. She says, I'm like 80% sure that you're going to make it through this week, even if you stay up on the block, even if you're up there for the vote. These two are not sure if Lauren would use the veto on either of them. Of course, if she's going to use it, she's going to use it on Vince, right? Because Lauren has a final 2 with Vince. But Morgan thinks there's also the potential that it could be used on her because they were working together, kind of. I mean, they're both, well, I would say they're both like connected through Zach, but like Morgan was obsessed with Zach, but Lauren, not as much. But Morgan says she genuinely loves the girl, meaning Lauren, which is kind of funny because she couldn't stop talking crap about Lauren until she won the veto. And now all of a sudden she's like, I love her. I love her. She's great. Before that, it was, I can't believe she voted Zach out. She did nothing to try to keep him here. But she says, Lauren obviously is going to be thinking about herself here, thinking about her game. And Morgan says, it's something that I probably should have done from day one as well. Duh. Nobody told you had to throw your game away for Zach and Vince, but that was your choice. So Rachel and Keanu were chatting in the gym, which they are now calling Keanu's HOH room. And Rachel says she doesn't think that Lauren is going to use the veto. Keanu's worried though. He's like, what if Morgan and Mickey are able to convince Lauren to use it on one of them? Because they're pretty good at convincing people to do things. But Rachel says, no, I'm not going to let that happen. She says she will be following Lauren around like a puppy until the veto ceremony. She's going to be breaking up all of Lauren's conversations, making sure that these nominations stay the same. But Rachel says, I don't even know who I would put up as the replacement nominee if that veto is used. I can't put up Will, Ashley, Ava. We need all of them. I don't want them to be mad at me. So a little later, Keanu is chatting with Vinny in the kitchen, and they agree it's not looking super likely that Lauren would use the veto, right? She doesn't like to make a lot of waves. She likes to stay under the radar. So they don't think that she would make a bold move like using the veto. So Keanu tells Vinny, you need to get to work on locking in Lauren's vote. He says Lauren is going to be a swing vote this week. Her vote is going to be super important. Is it? Keanu seems to think so. But he's telling Vince, don't try to convince her to use the veto on you. He says, you should straight up tell Lauren that she shouldn't use the veto on you. And tell her, like, you don't want her to put herself in danger, especially for little old me. And also tell her you have confidence that you can pull yourself off the block. You can win the blockbuster. And also tell her if you don't, like, could I have your vote? And he's like, say it just like that, bro. Say it just like that. And he tells Vinny, you're going to be tempted to ask her to use the veto because I know you guys are close, but don't effing do it. She is going to respect the shit out of you more if you don't. What is this? I mean, obviously, Vince is going to ask Lauren to use the veto. He's going to ask her many, many times. So Vince checks in with Riley and he's like, I'm going to ask Lauren if she would be open to using the veto on me. He thinks that Ashley would be the replacement nominee. Why? I don't know where he got this from, but he seems to think it would be Ashley. He says nobody's going to care if Ashley goes up on the block. I think Ashley would care a lot. But he says, I just want to make sure that you, Riley, are okay with me asking Lauren to use the veto before I do it. Why? He's like, I don't want you to think that you or Catherine's games would be at risk here. I don't want you to think that I'm playing a selfish game and I'm trying to take myself off, even though, you know, you could potentially go up. So he's asking Riley, would you be okay with me asking Lauren? And Riley's like, yeah. He tells Vinny, I don't think that you're going to go anyway, even if you stay up on the block. You would have me, Catherine, Keanu, Kelly, Lauren. We would all be voting for you. That's 5 guaranteed votes. That's enough to stay. You'd be fine against either Morgan or Mickey. Plus, Riley is not really thinking that he or Catherine would be a replacement nominee this week. So he's fine with Vince trying to get this veto used on him. So, like, it matters anyway what he thinks. But Keanu is chatting with Lauren and Kelly in the HOH room. And Keanu says the goal for this week is for Mickey to go. He says everyone is tired of the way she plays this game. She tries to scare people into doing what she wants, and that's not cool. So they talk about how, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but they talk about how after Mickey went up on the block, and you know everybody hugs after the nomination ceremony. Kelly hugged Mickey and said, like, welcome to the party. And Mickey was not happy about it. Mickey has been ignoring Kelly ever since. And then Kelly started to talk about how there was some sort of incident between the two of them in the storage room, but Big Brother wouldn't let us hear about that. They blocked the feeds for that. So I don't know what happened there, but when the feeds come back, Kelly's asking Lauren, are you thinking of using the veto? And Lauren says, I don't think so. She says, I don't think so, but I have to talk to Vinny about it. I'm getting flashbacks to Lauren's HOH week, and I'm already exhausted. Like, this girl, no, she needs to stop getting power in this game because it's freaking exhausting waiting for her to make a damn decision. So Lauren tells Kelly and Keanu, I don't want to put any of y'all in danger. I know I put both of you up on the block when I was HOH, but I don't want you to go anywhere. So Kelly is like, yeah, I kind of feel like I would maybe be the renom if you do use the veto. So if you don't want to use it, that'd be great. But Keanu says to Lauren, as long as you vote for Vinny to stay this week, he will stay in any scenario. He already has 4 votes locked in. You would be vote number 5. So as long as you're on board, he's going to be fine. We don't even need to use this veto. So later, Vince and Lauren have a chat in the have not room. And Vince begins his push. Of course, he wants Lauren to use the veto on him. So Lauren brings up that Mickey was asking her during the veto competition if she would use the veto if she won. And I guess Lauren was like, as she usually is. And at that point, Mickey was telling Lauren to just throw the comp, let me or Morgan win. Because I think at the end, it came down to Lauren, Rachel, Mickey, and Morgan. And I think on that last question, round 3, everybody got it wrong except for Lauren. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. Yikes. But anyway, Lauren was not going to throw the OTEV competition. She's been watching this show forever. She wanted to win OTEV. Plus, she knew she could potentially be the replacement nominee. I mean, she's got her ally Vince up there, right? And she's also associated with Morgan and Mickey to a certain extent. So she did not want to risk going up as the replacement nominee this week. So Vince lets her know Mickey and Morgan were also telling him before the comp that he should ask Lauren to throw it. So Vince is like, I wasn't going to do that. It was too risky. I didn't want to ask you to do that. He also says, Keanu confirmed to me in this last hour that you would have been the 4th renom. Is Keanu HOH? Because last time I checked, he wasn't. Also, Rachel has not been telling anybody who she would put up on the block, even as the initial nominees. So I highly doubt that she's spilling to Keanu that she would put Lauren up. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I feel like maybe Keanu is making some assumptions and now Vince is running with that. But at that point, Vince is like, I don't want to beg you or pressure you to do anything, but could you use the veto on me? So Vince, he tells her, I was talking to Keanu earlier, and Keanu actually wants you to use the veto on me. And he was telling me that I should tell you, I don't want you to use it. And then you would come to the conclusion on your own. You'll respect it more if I tell you not to use it. Basically, like a reverse psychology thing. Now, here's what I'm confused because, I don't think that Keanu was suggesting a reverse psychology thing. I think legit Keanu wanted Vince to stay up on the block. I think he was telling Vince, tell her you don't want the veto used and, so that she won't use it. I don't think he was trying to do reverse psychology. So I don't know if maybe I missed something. I don't know if Vince misunderstood that or if he was just trying to make Keanu look bad. I don't know. But I think Keanu wanted Vince to stay on the block. Not because he wants him to go, but because he wants to make sure that Mickey or Morgan leave this week. So Vinny tells Lauren, if you use this veto, Ashley's probably going to be the renom. Again, where is this coming from? He says nobody would care. Rachel would get over it. And he's all like, Rachel hates me. She wants me out. I have to make sure I'm safe because she might make me the target this week. So Lauren is like, all right, if I were to use this veto, what do I tell Rachel? She's terrified of talking to Rachel. So what would she tell her? And Vince is like, well, all you have to do is tell Rachel that I'm your friend and you want to keep me safe this week. So it's just that easy, right? He's also telling, I was going to say Kelly. He's also telling, oh my God, I actually forgot her name for a second. He's telling Lauren, if you use the veto, she's way under the radar. If you use the veto, people are not going to think you're indecisive anymore. You have this reputation for being wishy-washy, and if you want to get rid of that, just use the veto, and people will see that you make decisions. So he tells her again, no pressure, but I would do anything to keep you safe. So just putting it out there. So Lauren says she has to think about it. She's got to talk to everyone. She also mentions that she really wants Rachel out next week. Rachel is her target. And in regards to like making this decision about the veto, she really wants to find out who Rachel's replacement nominee would be, because even if she doesn't end up using it, she can take that information and use it against Rachel. Just go to the person who would be going up on the block and let them know. Do you really think that Rachel is like that much of a noob to this game? This is not her first rodeo. This is not even her second rodeo. But okay, she thinks that that's going to happen. So later, Kelly and Mickey are chatting in the train bedroom. And Mickey is like, Kelly, I want to be honest with you. My feelings were really hurt. Mickey is acknowledging, yes, she did put Kelly up on the block when she was HOH. But she says, I kept you safe as promised. I've shown that I'm a woman of my word. And she says, now that you're off the block, like we've been able to hang out more. She's like, I love you. I think you're a great person. This feels manipulative. I feel like we know this is where this is going, right? But even I couldn't predict where this was actually going. So Mickey tells Kelly, what I love about you is that you're different. And let's be honest, I'm very different in this house as you are. So Mickey tells Kelly, obviously, you don't know what it's like to be a Black woman. But she says, obviously, being the only one of my kind in this house. And then she says, a traditional Black woman. She says, it feels a little different sometimes. What is this? I mean, are Ashley and Morgan not also Black women? Why is Mickey saying she's the only? She says she's the only traditional Black woman in the house. I don't know what that means, a traditional Black woman. I'm not going to speak on it too much because it's not my place, but like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what she was trying to say there, but she says to Kelly, I thought you and I would connect since we're both different. And Kelly's like, oh no, what did I say? What did I say to upset you? Besides the welcome to the party thing. So Mickey says, it really hurt my feelings that you told Rachel that you were getting close to me and that she could use that. So Mickey says, I feel like my niceness was taken for granted. Her niceness? I remember the other day when Mickey purposely put meat in all of the food for dinner so that Kelly could not eat it because Kelly's a vegetarian or vegan. I'm not sure which. But I think she also said, oh, if Kelly wants to eat this, she can pick out the meat with tweezers. That doesn't sound nice to me. But Mickey breaks out the tears. She says to Kelly, everyone wanted you out, but I thought you deserved a chance. I stuck my neck out for you. I'm pretty sure she's mad that Kelly's been getting closer to Rachel. That's kind of what this boils down to here. But Kelly is apologizing, saying, I talk out of my ass sometimes. I don't know why I say the things that I say. Me neither. But Mickey also, of course, brings up the whole welcome to the party comment after the nomination ceremony. And Mickey says, when I don't have anything nice to say, I don't say anything at all because I want to be respectful to people in this house. Girl, what? Okay, if you say so. But Kelly is apologizing for hurting Mickey's feelings. And Mickey says she wants Kelly in this game, which is funny because Mickey's the one on the block here. But she tells Kelly, when it comes time to make a decision, I pray that you will keep me this week. Kelly wants Mickey out, but they hug it out. This whole conversation was a lot. So later, Lauren chats with Catherine about what she should do with this veto. And Lauren is saying, my initial thought was to leave the nominations the same, but if I do use it, it would be on Vince. She is not considering using this veto on Mickey or Morgan, only on Vince. So Catherine is talking about how Mickey needs to go because Mickey is trying to craft the perfect jury for her to win this whole season. And she's like, Mickey is targeting all the people that would be good for us on jury. And she also thinks that she has me and Riley in her back pocket. She certainly does. She really thinks she's in tight with Riley and Catherine at this point, but they are not feeling her. So Catherine is explaining to Lauren, if you use the veto on Vince, Keanu or Kelly might go up as the replacement. I don't know why everyone assumes it's going to be Keanu or Kelly, but Catherine says if it's one of those two up on the block with Morgan and Mickey, it's going to be harder at that point to secure the votes for Mickey or Morgan to go. And she's telling Lauren Vince would be safe against either of them. I know you're close and you want him to make it through, but like he's going to have the votes to stay. The other people, Kelly, Keanu, they might not have those same votes. So she's telling Lauren Vince has the votes locked in. Even Rachel wants Mickey or Morgan out, not Vince. And Lauren's like, yeah, I know. That's what Keanu said too. But she says, I really just don't want Vince to go. And she's going to feel terrible if she doesn't use the veto and then Vince does end up going when she could have saved him. So she really wants to make sure that those votes are going to be locked in. She just doesn't want to regret not using it. So the rest of Saturday night, because we still have so much to talk about. We have so much to talk about. Mickey was still breaking out the M&Ms, even from the block. She's running scenarios with Catherine. I really feel like Mickey should focus more on this week, but she's like mapping out future weeks with Catherine. And Catherine is placating her. She's taking it all in, but she wants Mickey out this week. So after that conversation, Catherine goes and tells Riley about what Mickey was saying. She was like, yeah, Mickey wants to solidify a final 6 with us, Ava, Will, Ashley. And Catherine's like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Catherine also shares that she was talking to Kelly earlier, and Kelly spilled that she has a 3-person alliance with Keanu and Rachel. Kelly, what are you doing? First of all, I don't think that alliance is even officially solidified yet, but she is spilling on it. Why would you do that? Kelly really needs to learn to keep her mouth shut sometimes. But Catherine is sharing all of this information that she's gathered with Riley, and Riley is in such a mood. What's new, right? Apparently he's pissed at everybody because he's calling everybody MFers. I guess he's pissed that he heard, some people were throwing their names out there as potential nominees, even down the line. He can't handle that. But it really seems like he's most pissed at Catherine for talking game with other people. Apparently only he's allowed to do that. She's the woman and she's just supposed to sit back while he keeps them both safe. So Riley's like, I've been waiting here for you for 2 hours. I almost fell asleep. I was wondering where the F you were. And he's like, how did you get pulled for 2 hours? When I get pulled for strategy talks, I only get pulled for 15 minutes. Oh my God. He's like jealous that she's playing the game. He is such a freaking baby. A baby man. But there's more threats from Riley that he's going to blow up everything if anybody puts him or Catherine on the block. Oh my God. Just the way that he speaks is so disturbing. Every other word is the F word. Every other word, like it's dripping with this intensity. It feels scary. Like we don't know what he's capable of. That's what it feels like. And I have to wonder at what point does Big Brother step in, especially with the way that he talks to Catherine. It just feels so inappropriate and dangerous and like icky. So I'm hoping they're going to do something soon because it's getting out of hand. But in other news, Morgan was in Delulaland on Saturday night thinking that she could convince Lauren to use the veto on her. On her, not on Vince, on her. Because she feels like she's the most in danger of the 3 nominees, which is like not even true. So she's like, oh, if Lauren uses it on me, there's a chance that everybody could be safe. She thinks that Rachel has a bigger target in mind because Rachel said something like that to Morgan. And she's assuming that Rachel was talking about Keanu. Do these people have eyeballs? Do they not see Rachel and Keanu hanging out like all the time now? But she says if Lauren uses the veto on me, Keanu goes up. Me, Vince, and Mickey could all potentially stay. We get rid of Keanu. No freaking way. So, okay, that's all Saturday night. Sunday morning. Keanu and Rachel have a game chat in the HOH room. And this is a real like mentor-mentee meeting because Rachel really needs to teach Keanu how to play this game. Sometimes it seems like Keanu thinks he's the mentor, but yeah. So Rachel is basically telling him, you got to clean it up. You have been getting reckless lately. So some context here. The night before, Keanu, Rachel, and Ashley were all hanging out in the HOH room. And Keanu was doing dumb stuff. He told Ashley that out of the 3 nominees, he wanted Mickey to stay the most. And Rachel is asking him, why would you do that? Right? Everybody knows that you don't want Mickey to stay. Everybody knows that you're close to Vince. Like, what are you doing? And Keanu says, oh, I was just messing with Ashley. She's really gullible. She'll run it back to Mickey. Ashley did not buy that. No way. Keeping Mickey over Vince? No. So Ashley now just thinks that Keanu is even more of a liar. Right? So Rachel's telling him, you got to stop doing that kind of stuff. We don't need all of that going around the house. So Keanu also is still pushing that he wants the 2 of them to work with Riley, Catherine, Vince, and Kelly. And Rachel's like, why do you think that you have all of these people? You do not have all of these people the way that you think you do. You have maybe Kelly and obviously me. But Keanu's like, no. I'm Riley's number 1. And Rachel tells him, there's no way. She says, first of all, Catherine and Riley are each other's number 1s. Rachel has been in a showmance. She knows how it works. She knows how intense it can be. So she says there is no way that you are Riley's showmance. There's no way that you're Riley's number 1 over his showmance, Catherine. So also, Rachel lets him know Riley has said to Rachel's face that he would put Keanu up on the block. So Rachel is trying to bring Keanu back to reality, but he is resisting hard here. He cannot accept that Riley has said disparaging things about him. So Keanu is still pledging his loyalty to Rachel, saying, you know, if you end up leaving, I'm not gonna pick a new final 2. I'm gonna lone wolf it to the end. And Rachel's telling him that's not gonna work. You can't win every single competition to get yourself to the end. It's just not going to happen. So these 2 are both getting frustrated with each other. Rachel says she feels like she's babysitting. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I really do think that Keanu means well, and I really do think that he wants to ride this out with Rachel. But like, he thinks he knows everything, and he will not listen to reason, even from Rachel, who has won this very game before. He thinks that he knows better. So we're right back where we started in a way. But Keanu was running wild after this meeting with Rachel. He took all the advice that he gave her or that she gave him, and he was just like, nope. So he immediately checks in with Riley. And he's telling Riley, I would never turn on you. I'd never betray you, trying to make sure that that bond is still solid. And then he goes to Mickey and he's telling her, I'm not actually that close with Rachel. And I'm actually afraid that I could go up as the renom if the veto's used. He really thinks he's cooking, but he's just being messy for no reason. He's talking to Ashley. Again, he's saying, I might be the renom. And he's like, we got to get Riley out of here because everyone loves him and he could potentially win this whole thing. Ugh. The thought of Riley winning this season makes me want to barf. But also, I wish Keanu was serious about this. Unfortunately, he was lying. He wants to work with Riley. He wants to go far with Riley. Yeah, if only he were actually targeting Riley. But Lauren and Rachel were finally chatting yesterday, Sunday afternoon. And Lauren went into this meeting with the goal of finding out who Rachel's replacement nominee would be if she were to use the veto. She even got her pep talk from Catherine before this conversation. What do I say to Rachel? So Rachel's telling Lauren, you won this veto. That's awesome. Do what you want with the veto. You know, it's your decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do either way. So she does ask Lauren, like, which way do you think you're leaning? And Lauren says she is leaning towards not using it. But she says that could change. So Rachel assures Lauren it does seem like Vince has the votes to stay if he stays up on the block. Or he could even win the blockbuster competition. So she's like, I know you're pretty close with Vince, so like he's gonna be fine. And Lauren is like, okay, cool. I'm gonna share my final decision with you by the end of the day. We've heard that before, and she didn't have a decision by the end of the day. Spoiler alert. Spoiler for the spoiler. But Rachel's like, I would love to work with you. It'd be great if we could start working together. You know, it's the middle of the game right now, but we could really work together the rest of the time. And she tells Lauren, if you do decide to use the veto, I would appreciate a bit of a heads up so that I can make an educated decision on the replacement nominee. And she even tells Lauren, I feel like we could work together on that decision about who should go up. So Rachel did not spill who she would put up on the block in this conversation. But after, Lauren is talking to Riley, telling him about it, and she's like, I think that Keanu fed stuff to Rachel to say to me. What? No. She really thinks that Rachel is like saying and doing what Keanu wants. Stop. So, on the other hand, she also thinks that Rachel would put up Keanu or Kelly. How does that make sense? I don't know. But she seems to think that Riley and or Catherine would be safe if she were to use the veto. So a few more quick things from last night. Mickey was encouraging Lauren to use the veto because Mickey really felt like Lauren needed to hear from as many people as possible that they would support this decision to make Lauren more comfortable with it. And she's telling her everyone would support you. Even Rachel would be cool with it. Kelly or Keanu would go up as the replacement. And Mickey says she thinks that Rachel regrets her initial nominations. No. Keep dreaming. But Mickey is also saying that she thinks she would have the votes to stay if she doesn't win the blockbuster competition. In what world? Speaking of the votes, Will and Ashley were talking last night about potentially keeping Morgan over Mickey. They have been closer to Mickey this whole time, but they just feel like they can't support her anymore. She's doing too much. She's going around the house talking too much crap. And Ashley is even saying she regrets defending Mickey to Rachel the other day. Is Ashley back? Oh my God. She's out from under Mickey's spell. Also, it's worth mentioning Ashley and Morgan were chatting quite a bit last night and comparing notes on things that Mickey has told them. And they're realizing Mickey's really bad for both of their games. So even Morgan was saying that at this point. I mean, of course, she knows if she's up on the block against Mickey, it's her or Mickey, right? So like she wants to stay. But I think she is realizing Mickey is not good for her game at this point. So Vince and Lauren talked again last night, and Lauren reports back that Rachel told her to do what she wants with the POV. What a biatch. That's the way she framed it. She was like, I can't believe she said that. She wants to include me in the renom discussions, and it's probably just so she can blame me for whoever goes up. She's going to put the blame on me. And Vince is like, that is so manipulative. I can't believe she would do that. Anything Rachel does at this point, they're going to act like it's the worst thing in the world. But Vince, again, is campaigning for Lauren to use this veto, specifically on him. And eventually he does wear Lauren down. She's now saying she wants to use it on him, but they're both whining about how scared they are to talk to Rachel. She's so scary. Oh my God. What is she going to say? So after Morgan is talking to Lauren, and Morgan is pitching for Lauren to use the veto on her. So Morgan says, if I'm still up on the block, I'm going to go home. I'm not going to have the votes to stay. And she is not correct about that. I do believe that she would go home against Vince, but I'm pretty sure she'd be safe against Mickey. But Morgan is really emotional. She's telling Lauren, she's telling Lauren, Zach would want the two of us to work together. And Morgan reveals that Zach could have taken himself off the block last week with a secret power, but he didn't because Lauren and Morgan would have been in danger. So she's telling Zach's secret. She's like, I hope he doesn't mind, but like he's not here anymore. But she says Zach sacrificed himself to save us. I mean, in reality, he was just cocky, right? He didn't want to give up his $10,000. He thought he had the votes to stay. That's why he didn't use that. But he framed it as, oh, Morgan, I didn't want you to go up. And now Morgan is like, oh, he wanted to protect both of us because he wants us to work together. So Lauren, hearing this information that Zach could have saved himself last week, her mouth is agape. She's just like, she can't believe it. She says, that's insane. That is insane, right? So I'm wondering if Lauren is going to share that information with anybody else. I feel like Vince still doesn't know about the power at this point, right? I haven't heard anybody tell him. So I feel like if she tells him at some point, that's going to be wild. But Lauren tells Morgan, I think you're going to be safe this week. She says if she is going to use the veto, it would probably be on Vince. And Morgan is still trying to push for Lauren to use it on her instead of Vince because she says, no, Vince would be safe. Like, I'm going to be in danger. I need it used on me. Maybe we could get all of us to be safe. So Morgan pulls out the M&Ms. She starts running scenarios. No, we're moving on from that. So last night, both Vince and Lauren separately gathered all of the strength in their bodies and they told Rachel that Lauren is thinking about using the veto. Oh my God, they're so brave. So then Rachel told Lauren, like, maybe like think about it a little bit more and tell me right in the morning, like what your decision is. And then we'll go from there. Like take the time to think about it a little bit more. So then at one point last night, Rachel walked in on Lauren, Morgan, and Vince all talking in the storage room. And of course, they're talking about the veto and whether Lauren's going to use it or not. So Rachel, remember she said she was going to like talk block Lauren's conversations, basically. She's going to like follow her around and break up those combos. Well, here she is doing it. So Rachel starts chastising Vince and Morgan for pushing Lauren so hard about using this veto. And she's like, real classy, guys. And she said it looked like Lauren was about to cry. And she's like, please don't make a 22-year-old cry for your game. Oh, so yeah, Vince and Morgan were not feeling great about that. They're pissed at Rachel. So then last night, Rachel gave Keanu a heads up that if Lauren does use this veto, she's going to have to put somebody up that's going to send shock waves throughout the house. So Keanu is trying to guess who it would be. He's like, Ashley, Will. And Rachel's like, no. So eventually Keanu's like, Riley? And he's like, don't put up Riley. Don't even think about it. Savage. Don't do it. So Rachel's like, I'm not. She's testing the waters. Rachel also told Ashley last night, if these people want chaos, I'm going to give it to them. If they want to keep Mickey, then I'm going to put somebody else up who they're going to get rid of instead of Mickey. She says, I will blow this house up. And Ashley was like, wait, so like, what do you mean? The showmance? And Rachel was like, I don't know. So this morning, it's POV ceremony day. Lauren is a mess. She goes to Rachel and she tells her, I'm thinking I'm going to use it. And then Rachel's like, I would prefer if you didn't. So Lauren is just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. She goes to Vince and Morgan. She's like, I don't know what to do. I can't decide. She thinks that Kelly would be the renom. So she goes back to Rachel again. And we're getting like real close to the veto ceremony here, less than an hour away. And she tells Rachel again, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to use the veto. And Rachel's like, okay, well, I want you to know I'm not putting Kelly up on the block. And I cannot guarantee that one of your allies won't go up. She's like, you're putting me in a bad spot if you do use it. I didn't get to talk to anyone about being a renom. You know, I didn't get to have those conversations because you didn't tell me ahead of time that you're going to do this. But Rachel's like very calm during this conversation. She's not being like, but she tells Lauren, it's your veto. I'm not trying to pressure you either way. So Lauren apologizes and she's like, I think I'm still going to use it. So Rachel's like, okay, I think it's a big mistake. I feel like I'm not going to be able to work with you, but all right. So the feeds went down for the veto ceremony. Lauren did, in fact, use the veto on Vince. And Rachel nominated Riley in his place. Oh, shit. So we have Riley versus Morgan versus Mickey up on the block. I gotta say, Rachel is like the people's HOH. I feel like she's killing it. She's given us what we want. This is amazing. My only complaint is that I wish we could get rid of both Riley and Mickey this week. It's going to be hard to decide between the two of them. But after the ceremony, Riley is talking to Keanu. Riley is very subdued during this conversation. He's like, I had a feeling. I don't trust that mother effer. And he's referring to Rachel. And he tells Keanu, I don't think you should trust that mother effer either. And Riley's like, I don't care. I'm going to pull myself off the block anyway. I'm going to win the blockbuster, whatever. I'm not worried. And Keanu says, I don't know why she did this. Like, I only care about you and Vince. You guys are my priority. Riley calls it a pussy ass move. He says it is what it is. And Keanu's like, it just doesn't make any sense because even if you don't win the blockbuster, you're gonna have the votes to stay, and then you're gonna be going after Rachel. Catherine's going after Rachel. Lauren's gonna be mad. She's gonna go after Rachel. Like they weren't going after her anyway. Come on. And Keanu's annoyed because Rachel is always saying like she wouldn't go after the showmance, and now look what she's done. And Keanu also brings up Kelly would have been fine with going up on the block. She was already counting on it. She figured she would win the blockbuster anyway, so she'd be fine. I think Kelly, I didn't even get to this part yet, but Kelly was also apparently mad that she didn't go up. So, yeah, Keanu says Rachel is super unpredictable and she potentially just lost her closest ally, meaning Keanu. And for what? So, okay, we're going to pick it up there tomorrow because I had to cut it off there. There's already so much to take in, and I want to make sure I can give you guys the full breakdown of the post-veto ceremony fallout. So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow. But just real quick, it does appear that Mickey is no longer Rachel's target. Rachel wants Riley to go at this point. So that's pretty interesting. I'm curious to see how this is all going to play out. Is she going to be able to mend things with Mickey? Also, is Riley going to win the blockbuster? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. There's just so many different things that could happen this week. And I have to thank Rachel for keeping it so interesting and for doing this. I don't even know what to say. But anyway, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, especially when it's a long one like this. And I also want to thank our super chatters because we really could not do this without you guys. So Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much as always. So nice to have you here for a live. Connor Benson, thank you so much. Connor says, what a day. I know. So officially, Rachel seems to be trying to mend fences with Mickey and Morgan. It does seem like she's trying to do that. Her new target is Riley. Here's my issue, and I love Rachel, but putting up Riley wasn't smart. Rachel needs Mickey out. Why make an enemy of Riley and Catherine? I think she figured at this point they're coming after her anyway. She has caught Riley in several lies. She knows that he is not going to work with her. I think honestly, she was also a little bit pissed, or a lot pissed, that Lauren messed up her nominations, and she knows that Lauren is working closely with Riley and Catherine. So it was kind of like, all right, if you're going to F around and use this veto, you're going to find out when I put up one of your allies. So I think that was part of it. I think she also sees that Riley is, unfortunately, a big threat to go deep in this game, and she wants to just like get him out of here before it's too late. I think that's also a big part of it. And she's hoping that she can fix things with Mickey and Morgan. So I think it's an interesting move on her part. I think also she realizes at this point, like, she's having a hard time gaining traction with most of these house guests. So she probably figures, like, I'm going to be in trouble next week anyway. So I may as well make a big swing. And then maybe things will restructure when we get rid of one of these big power players. That's what I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, why not? Why not swing for the fences? I'm sure there's also an element of if she does get targeted soon, at least she'd be leaving before the jury starts and she can go home to her family. I think that is also a consideration for sure. But thank you to Connor. And thank you again. Connor says, and for the love of God, someone please get Kelly out of that house. She's one of the dark horses to win at this point. Can you imagine if Kelly actually makes it to the end? I'm not going to lie. I would be very impressed. It's probably not going to happen, but you never know. But yeah, that would be wild. Josh D, thank you so much. Josh says, everyone is mad at Rachel, and I know production wants Rachel in the house. I feel like it's time for production to expel Riley and let the cast know why. Yeah, I mean, Riley is just, how much are they going to let him get away with? Because I feel like there is so much that we don't even see on the feeds, and they're like protecting him because he is in the showmance this season. But it's really gross because so many of these people fear even putting him or Catherine up on the block because of him like hulking out. And that's just not acceptable. That should not be allowed in this game, that he can like intimidate people like that. There's a line, and I feel like he crosses it. So it would be nice if production would step in. Sean Davis, thank you so much. Sean says Keanu is so bad at reading people. Yeah, there really must be a gas leak. Lauren's indecisiveness, Mickey's cockiness, Vince's whining, Kelly's instigating, and Riley's creepiness is too much. Yeah, I mean, my mom was talking about this last night. This really is, as a bunch, like one of the most unlikable casts that we've seen. Usually there's like maybe 2 or 3 people that are just like, bleh. But this cast has a lot. It's a bit much. I'm hoping they can get some of these people out of here and then it'll be a much more enjoyable experience. But we'll see. Kansas James, thank you so much. Kansas says, bless you. I cannot with these house guests. It's really tough sometimes. We're all in this together. April Oldenhoff, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Oh, Haley Milne, thank you so much. And she says, thank you for all your hard work every season. You're definitely the best part of this season. Thank you so much. It's so sweet of you. And we really appreciate you coming back season after season. And shout out to Canada. Michael Grossman, thank you so much. Michael says, thank you so much for the updates. I do not know how you're able to keep up with these players. I'm exhausted after watching them for 5 minutes. Michael, I could not do this without the Big Brother community, specifically the update community. There are some updaters that I rely on religiously, and I definitely want to shout them out right now. I love reading updates on online Big Brother. I love being a part of the Blue Sky community. We have BB Lion. We have BB Screenshots. They both post a lot of video clips from the feeds, which I just could not do this without. We have the BB live feed updaters. They post awesome updates every day. Also, I love BB Feeds Fairy. Shout out Asmodeus and the Etsy Witch. Also, who am I missing? Oh, Tombs. I love Tombs. They also post a lot of awesome video clips from the feeds. I feel like there's one more. Whoa. Oh wait, I forgot I'm on my computer, so I can just look at who I have open. Okay, those are all the ones that I use like every single day to keep up with everything. And I could not do this without them, especially living on the East Coast, just trying to keep up with what happened overnight. You guys are amazing. Everybody that posts updates online, you are amazing. So thank you to everybody. Shane Wright, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And William Dang, thank you so much for the super chat. William says, I'm so happy the mean people are on the block. It is a nice feeling, right? I mean, no matter what, somebody that we want out is gonna go. I will admit, though, I'm gonna be bummed if Morgan is the one leaving because I feel like she is the least bad of the 3. So I hope it's gonna be either Riley or Mickey. My real hope would be double eviction, they both go, or like Riley's expelled, Mickey's evicted, but we can't have it all, right? So we'll see what happens. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. Aaron says Jolene used a clip of us last night. That's awesome. We really, really love Jolene, and she puts out such amazing content. So if you guys are not already following Jolene Lunzer, make sure you check her out. Oh yes, and of course Hamster Watch. Yes, I mean she's the OG. I love Hamster Watch. Okay, I always miss people when I do that. But anyway, thank you for being here. Oh, my husband's in the chat. He said, bring it on home, John B. Yes, I do need to go. So thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope you have a great night. So until next time, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye.